Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock on the start of a Monday. Glad you're with us to start the day. Super Bowl Monday, the day after the Super Bowl, I suppose. Like, what do you call it? The day after the Super Bowl?
The day that we all are still trying to wake up a little bit.
No kidding.
Stayed up a little late.
Well, I feel like everyone did.
Yeah.
And you know what? That game went into overtime, which made things worse, really, for everyone who was struggling to even get through that first half because it was so boring.
The first half was really boring. Then when Usher came out, I was like, I'll just wait through Usher.
Right.
Then I got all excited when Usher came out. I was like, I can't go to bed now.
Right, it was hard to kind
And
of
then
bring that back down.
Yeah, I watched the third quarter like from my bed.
So I got to tell you a funny story. And I don't know if this happened to you or if you've got kids, but apparently CBS was putting out two feeds yesterday of the Super Bowl. One was the standard broadcast. The other one was live from Bikini Bottom.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay. So,
It's not like, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's that, remember you saw the booth in the stadium. And it was like, this is the first time we're partnering with Nickelodeon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Russ went to bed earlier last night before halftime, and he said, I'll watch it from bed. Okay, no problem. So my sister and I were watching it together, and we were watching the regular broadcast in the living room, having a great time. By the way, I just posted some hysterical video on my Instagram page. You can follow me at Dranch TV. So I get back into bed, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, why is SpongeBob and Squidward on TV, and why is this so annoying? It turns out that Russ was watching the Nickelodeon feed compared to
was it like
the
them
regular
doing
feed.
Play-by-play?
Yes.
And that
it
gotta
was
be hard.
It was so annoying. Like you hear SpongeBob and Squidward making awful jokes.
Talking
Talking about
SpongeBob
football.
was like, I was too old for that. So like when you said you were live at Bikini Bottom, I was like, what are you talking about?
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Like now, I mean, I like know the song, but like that was not.
It was so funny. I was just cracking up. Like Russ was watching the halftime show on Nickelodeon. That made me laugh.
Maybe it was like soothing.
Peter, good morning. That game was long, so Monday should be a day off.
Yeah, Kelly. Good morning. Is it nap time yet? No.
Oh my God, I know.
What'd you guys think of Usher?
Okay, loved it.
Me too.
Nicole says, I missed it. Just wanted to see the opening, but heard it wasn't even the original animation. Yeah, it wasn't. It was really weird. Howard says, I missed the Puppy Bowl. Kim, Usher, Reba, Alicia, nothing but class. I love the halftime show.
I thought it was so much fun.
Lauren loved it.
And I'll tell you what, he has a lot of hits.
Usher.
Like hit after hit after hit. He didn't even do them all.
I know. And, there were bits and pieces thrown in here. When he started doing confessions, I was like, this is it.
And then he'd only do a little bit of it, and I'd be like, more.
Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. Alicia and Usher were amazing. So, Dana and I, when Alicia started singing, like we both gasped because she hit that one note. We're like, oh God.
When she first came on, I was like, is that Alicia Keys?
It sure is.
So exciting.
So Sarah liked Post Malone.
He was adorable.
Right? I didn't mind it.
So everything I've ever read about him is like what a nice human he is. Nobody, it seems like, says anything bad about him. Everybody who's interacted with him, worked with him, whatever, always says he is such a nice person. And I feel like that kind of came across. I feel like he seems so genuine and
very
sweet.
authentic.
Yeah.
Very like almost like 1960s, 60s folk singer almost.
I loved like all of the performances yesterday.
My mom had no idea what he was singing. Are you talking about Usher or Post Malone, Ma? Kelly says Post Malone was my favorite. Okay. I did not love Reba.
Oh, I like Reba.
So I don't mind Reba, but okay, Lori says she was spot on, loved it.
She sang the national anthem like the national anthem was written.
I know.
We're so used to performers like making it their own, which I guess is your own thing. But then a lot of people criticize them and they're like, just sing the song. And she sang the song.
But like Whitney's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner was like, whew. I mean,
they're
it's Whitney.
So different though, those two performers.
Right. James
Reba
says,
sang it like I could hear Reba singing it, Yeah. She is like cut and dry. She's like, here's my song. She is a cutie patootie.
She's adorable.
How good does she look?
She looks great. I loved her outfit, her costume.
I text we have a little group chat and I said to my mom, I said, boy, Reba looks good. My mom just writes back, no, you know what?
Okay, Kelly's right there with me. She says, I love Reba, but that performance was a little disappointing. Kelly says, me neither. It could have been more dramatic. Erin loved Reba's pants. Tina says nobody will ever beat Whitney.
Howard says Reba's good no matter what. Mark says Reba's been singing it for 40 years. See, everybody's going to feel how they feel.
Yeah.
Carol says I'm too old for Usher, but I loved Reba.
Oh my God. Usher is not too old for anything. He's 45 years old and damn does he look good.
Wait, okay, let's tell everybody at that one funny meme that had us all laughing.
2023, Rihanna.
Had a picture of Rihanna and a picture of Usher.
Okay, so it said 2023, Rihanna's pregnant. 2024, we're all pregnant.
Ooh,
God damn,
Usher,
I mean,
hello.
he looks so good. After hit, I
He's
know.
such a dancer, and then he put on skates, and he was even better. Like, what? Come on. Get
Okay,
out of
so
town.
I wondered a little bit about this. Was he? Is this okay? Like that, I can tell he's moving. But was this more of an illusion on the roller skates than anything else because of the way the floor was?
He also went through someone's legs. I couldn't do that.
No, I know.
Walking.
So funny. Jeanette says I timed the national anthem yesterday because I heard Reba did it before in 82 seconds, but yesterday she was just about 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine the pressure of that. I know.
I've seen Reba in concert. She was a trip. She's funny. She was good. She opened for George Strait, which was 2 stars at once.
Okay, so Kelly, thank you. Luda. Look at what?
Watch
when
out.
Ludacris came out, my eyes started screaming.
Watch out, my outfit's ridiculous.
In the club looking so conspicuous and wow. Usher was fire, Melly says. Carolyn says Usher killed it.
Yep.
They need a country halftime show is what Melanie
They
says.
had a country halftime show a few years ago. I say a few years ago, no, probably like 10 years ago. Let me look up past Super Bowl.
Bonnie says his moves were like Michael Jackson. I mean, also, do you know what I realized? He was actually singing, which few performers, I think, would actually be willing to do during a performance that's so high stakes like the Super Bowl. I mean, I was blown away. I mean, you're right. Somebody wrote about breath control. That's a huge deal. The fact that like Usher could dance like that, change his costumes, roller skate, and then actually sing.
Okay, so let me take you back. Here's the past few years. Usher, then Rihanna. Then remember it was on with like Eminem, Snoop, Kendrick Lamar, all those guys. The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Shakira, J-Lo, Bad Bunny.
That's okay.
Maroon 5, Travis Scott. Then Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Lady Gaga.
Awesome.
Remember Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars.
Terrible.
Katy Perry, Lenny Kravitz, Missy Elliott. Bruno Mars, Red Hot Chili Peppers in 2014. Beyonce 2013. Then Madonna, Black Eyed Peas, and Usher was there.
Black Eyed Peas were also the guy.
will.i.am.
Yeah, thank you.
The Who, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty. I'm trying to remember. I thought we had maybe that's not Shania Twain.
Man, I feel like a woman.
Maybe they are due for a country halftime show.
Okay, if there's a country performer, who would you want it to be? I know who you would want.
know I love Kenny Chesney.
Yes.
But I'm gonna say too, like if you got Garth Brooks, also like he's pretty big. If you had like Kenny Chesney, Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, if you guys got the oh, you know what people love? Luke Combs.
Yeah,
Like you
Fast
got
Car.
him in there.
Dennis
I was gonna say Fast Car's a little slow for the
Sure.
Super Bowl, but I feel like if you did a couple different country stars, since it doesn't really look like they've done one lately.
Elizabeth says nothing will top Eminem. That's still the best
was
for me.
fun.
Oh, Blake Shelton. I can get down with that.
Mhm.
Oh, Garth and Trisha. Okay.
Garth would be really good. I'm telling you, Kenny Chesney, if you've never seen him, now listen, I'm biased because I really like him, but boy, that he puts on a show.
Georgina says Billy Ray.
Doesn't stop moving. Like he'd be at high energy.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second now? Okay, let's talk about what everyone else is talking about here. Beyond the halftime show, like Usher was great. Okay, we can all dream about a country show. Let's talk about the reality of this. Two things. Yeah, okay. This was cringy. And I was trying to like put myself in his shoes. Like the energy is really high.
Oh, he's just at that point, you're just like so excited.
Exactly. But like in the moment, you're like, this is great, la la la. Everyone's celebrating with me. But like watching it back, that has got to be a lesson. Like, be sweet, be brief, be in and out.
Be brief, be gone.
Yeah.
Do you think that, do you think that he watches it back and is like, oh,
Cringy like everyone else is
not
saying?
so much cringy, but like my voice is not as good as I thought. Like anytime like I hear my voice, like you know how you hear your voice and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, I don't know.
Okay, here's the other thing that I think a lot of people are discussing this morning is that Travis Kelce, how do you put this into like reality? I mean, like the shove, was that a shove? It wasn't a bump.
Yeah, it was heated tempers on the sidelines.
But it was just him. So I had a couple of thoughts on that. And I, weigh in about this because I think a lot of people, okay, right. Paula, that was Taylor's red flag. Mary says that was not cool. I wonder about this. Two things. Number one, Andy Reid kind of didn't seem fazed, right? He knows how to deal with Travis. It's all about managing your people.
And knowing your people.
So, okay, that to me was like, and then you heard in the post conference, like Andy Reid is.
He kind of was like, this is
dignified.
Yeah. Well, it was like, high, pressure. It's one of those situations.
Okay. Mary sends the wrong message. Catherine says Travis was careless, very telling of who he is. Kelly says uncalled for. Connie says it was rude. Becky, they are the poorest sports. Grace says he acted like a 2-year-old. Beth, I lost a lot of respect for Travis Kelce after that shove. Aaron, Josh Allen would never. No kidding. Okay, so Travis Kelce, I mean, he has a past. Like in his past kind of almost like comes out, is personified in that one moment, I think. And, Jason and Travis in their podcast have discussed this, how like Andy Reid took a chance on Travis Kelce and he basically had these big emotions and he credits Andy Reid for taking a chance and like trying to temper those emotions.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We don't know him as a person.
No.
I'm not saying it wasn't a good look. I think that's fair to say, right? I've seen people blow up in the workplace. Have you seen people blow up in the workplace?
Okay, so this is what I was trying to say also. I have been there. Because yes, I have. Because when you are passionate about whatever you're doing,
right,
you want to perform at a high level.
And like this is a weird, different workplace that none of us really understands. Right. We don't work under those situations like they do. So I'm just saying, like, not living it, but I have seen people like get really frustrated like that. The physical aspect of it is what bothered me the most. So like the yelling,
right?
People yell. But then there's probably also the argument, like, did he actually mean to like bump into the guy? I don't know,
Okay, so Elizabeth says don't excuse him. So I want to circle back to that comment too, because, right, we cannot excuse that kind of behavior, right? He wasn't necessarily disciplined. He, I'm sure he got a talking to after, but, here's the other thing too. And we have been discussing this, like afterward, when you're asked about that, when you're asked that moment in the post-show press conference, whatever it is,
that's your time.
You got to own it.
That's your time to say, I lost my cool. My biggest issue for something like that is that you have so many young kids watching it. You want to be a role model. You are a role model for them, whether or not you want to be, okay, right? You are a role model for them. So if you're going to take on that role and kind of maybe it's an unintended role, but you are that person, then just, own it afterwards and say, you know what, my emotions got the best of me. It was not the right thing to do. Own it.
So that's what I'm always, when I'm in the wrong, and I know that I'm often in the wrong, I'll be the first to apologize.
Right. That's great.
And so I think when you are asked that question, you've got to say, you know what? My emotions got the best of me and I'm sorry for that. And you know what? And I would even take it a step further and say, moms and dads, this is the time to talk with your children and say, you know what, maybe I didn't act the right way.
Say, use me as an example.
Right.
Say, we all, something got the better of me. I don't know.
Robin says, my husband used to say, do the right thing no matter who is watching.
That's the other thing too, like everybody's watching.
Right.
The whole country.
But
so
like the whole thing with like Taylor Swift too, and you and I were talking about this as well, like this doesn't look good for him.
Well, you never want your significant other to be like seen in a bad light.
Right.
If you love that person, right? No matter what.
And it was, like this is a moment, I think this for their relationship together, like this, maybe it's a challenge. This is one of those obstacles that as a normal couple, people have to walk through or hop over that hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barbara says no excuse for behavior, but it's between the coach and him on how to deal with this. Right. I'm certain he'll address it on his podcast and I hope he will.
I have a feeling he probably, like, I would be surprised if this is the last we hear of it. Like, emotions got the best of everybody. They should they? I don't know, whatever. But I mean, it wasn't a good look.
No, not at all. Barb says he should have been benched. And,
Yeah, and I agree with Catherine, like the getting physical, yelling is one thing, although it's very rude to scream in someone's face. But yelling is one thing, physical is not good. I don't know.
Carol says my grandson was mad that he was nasty to his coach. And that's the other thing too. Like you have to respect that person's position. Right. And once cooler heads prevail, I'm sure he realized, okay, like that was not cool.
Maybe we'll hear. So I'd be surprised if we don't hear more about it, right?
And then Amy says, I think Jason will hold him to account in the podcast. Honestly, Jason is pretty good at calling him out gently.
Well, right. And it's his brother. Like if there's anybody who can call you out like that, it's your family, right? So, and I think that would probably be the right thing to do. Maybe we'll hear more about it. Then we get to talk more about it.
Do you think he should be fined?
What are the parameters for being fined?
I don't know.
That's what I would need to know.
Yeah.
Because everybody says that he'll be fined. I would like to know, John, what are the parameters to be fined? Like, could you be fined for that? Do we even know what the parameters are? Does it kind of like... It's up to the team, John is saying he thinks, not even the NFL.
Okay, so Suzanne says anyone who physically attacks their boss would have been fired anywhere else, but sports figures have always gotten away with stuff like that. I'm glad that we're discussing it, though, because I think it's really important to hear everyone's voice on this, number one. And number two, really like the role model conversation.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Whether or not he addresses it, whether or not whatever, this is an opportunity if we have kids in our lives or whatever, to talk to them and say, hey, this is how we feel about what happened. What do you think about what happened? Right. What do you think should have been done?
Deborah says, good morning. She needs a shout out for her wife. Happy 53rd birthday, Sherry.
Happy birthday.
Pew, 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 pew. Connie, congratulations to Parker's Pit. Yeah, congratulations, Parker's Pit. We want to hear all about your restaurant on the Boulevard. That's wonderful. Congratulations to you.
Parker's Pit said they were cleaning this weekend. They sent me a message. Parker's Pit, like the restaurant day, is like writing. They sent a message saying, boy, they were like cleaning and doing a lot of work this weekend. So looking forward to it.
Oh, Rosalie is smiling at us. Good morning, my little baby.
Hi, girl. Hi. That's Ed's niece. Hi, honey. Hi.
Little baby Rosalie. Today also marks a somber anniversary here in Western New York. And obviously we try to keep it light here, but I noticed that Robin was chatting with us here. Robin Tolsma lost her husband in the crash of Flight 3407. And Robin, our thoughts are certainly with you today and really every day. But 15 years, I mean, we were talking about that. That is a lifetime.
Yeah. So I remember moving here about 4 weeks after the crash because I knew I had the job. And I remember saying to my boss, I was in Syracuse, can I go to Buffalo to cover this? And they're like, we really need you to stay these extra 4 weeks. So we were opening the station here. And so I did, but because you wanted to be there because it happened in your community. I mean, this is like 15 minutes from where I grew up, and coming to know all these family members over the years, they're such nice people.
I mean, how many times, I've known Robin now for 12 years.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jen West and Karen Walensky and Karen Eckert and Beverly.
Like we've gone to DC with them. We've gone places with them. We've had like every time I run around Forest Lawn, I think about them when I, see the memorial there. Like it just.
Well, and to your point, Katie, I mean, I'm a grandma now is what she's saying. Darren has missed so much. Katie followed me and my kids to DC. Summer West is a senior in high school. She was 2 years old.
2.
Right.
Yeah. Like put that into perspective.
Karen says, Robin, that she's praying for you and your family. So much love. These families, though, have gone through so much and have done so much, not for themselves, but for everyone else.
Oh, right. Think about the stuff that we didn't know was happening until they took action. Like we did not realize pilots were not getting this high level of training. We did not realize that when we booked a plane ticket with Continental at the time, right, or whatever, that a regional carrier could be taking us. Although that's how it always worked. But we didn't know that the ticket, it wasn't a Continental pilot. It was a smaller airline. Like these are things that who
didn't have the same training as a regular mainline pilot.
Right. So you think I'm booking with Continental or whatever, which has since obviously gone. But, you think I'm booking with this big, huge company.
Right.
No, they've done a lot of things that have made the skies safer for everybody as we fly.
They call it one level of safety. And that's exactly what they've been fighting for with the FAA, the reauthorization bills. And, Congressman Higgins, too, has been a huge supporter of these families and, frankly, keeping all of us safe in the air. Robin says, thank you. Because of those loss, we are all safer to fly. No doubt.
Can I tell you? So when I first went down, and I think it was for the NTSB hearing, maybe like about a year after the crash, that's when so much of this stuff started coming to light, right? And they talked about the regional airlines, they talked about all these things, and I like sat in and listened to the hearing, and it was unbelievable to hear. That being said, I remember then they're talking about this, major airline versus a regional, and I went to get back on my flight back home, and that's the first time I ever noticed on the ticket. It was like, whoever booked it operated by
right.
Those small, and I'm like, wow, this impacts everybody.
It's a huge deal. I mean, and you think like Newark to Buffalo, what could be bad? It's an hour flight. And, on a cold, snowy February night, we saw what happened. And,
right.
You also think of like somebody like Karen Walensky, who lost her husband, Doug. And I've spoken to her so many times. Her book, if there's one thing to read, Karen Walensky's One on the Ground is riveting. And it takes you through the entire process. And it's just a fascinating insight into how she lived her life, pre and post plane crash. Robin says, I'm friends with the pilot's wife and the co-pilot's mom. All of those lost matter. Right, Rebecca and
Rebecca Shaw.
Renslow.
So I met Rebecca Shaw's mom. So it was the co-pilot's mom. I met her and I interviewed her.
You feel for her.
Of course you do. I mean, her daughter was 24?
Right.
And she was starting her career, right? Like so many people. And she, her mom basically said how dedicated her daughter was to this. And she really wanted this. And, this was, so yeah. And Robin's right. It was a tragedy,
It's almost like she was set up to fail. And when you think about that, that's hard. They were pushed to the limit and she was sick. She couldn't call off. It's difficult. And you feel for everyone involved, and certainly thank all of those who went above and beyond for these families and continue to do so. And thank them for going above and beyond for us.
Well, and let's be honest, because they have to keep doing it.
Right.
Because every time that FAA reauthorization bill comes up for a new vote, like the airlines will try to get these regulations lowered.
They don't like them, right?
It's expensive.
Right.
To have to train people for so long, the more training you get, the more expensive it is.
Marguerite says, I can't imagine waiting for your loved ones at the airport and having that happen. Yeah, it's awful when you put yourself in their shoes. Do you remember, though? So Katie and I obviously have known each other. I've been here for 12 years, almost 13. And obviously you about the same, if not longer.
Yeah, I moved here in 2009, so 15 years. Just 4 weeks after the crash.
So when you went down to Washington,
me and Jimmy,
when you were working for YNN,
photographer Jimmy,
I didn't know anything. I mean, I was sent down to Washington
by yourself. I remember
on a whim.
I remember thinking that stinks because I had somebody with me.
Right.
It's hard to do. Shooting stuff by yourself is one thing, hard enough, but like traveling by yourself, that's a lot.
Well, I did my own live shots. I shot, I edited.
Yeah, it's hard.
But you really helped me out because I really had no idea what I was doing. And you're like, okay, follow me, basically. And I'm like, thank you.
Well, it was serendipitous, apparently, because, I remember feeling really bad for you, to be honest, because I was like, he had so much gear by himself, and that was awful. And I had somebody with me, so, like, if we could help, like, that's the thing, like in any business, right? Like, you're competitors, but behind the scenes, like if you're struggling carrying something, I'm not the person who's going to be like, good luck, I'm going to pick it up for you if I have an extra hand.
It was just so meaningful to me in that moment. Like I really appreciated it. I still do. Obviously, I remember it.
You're welcome. Don't forget it. No. Do you want to know one thing I will never forget was when I was sitting in on the hearings and they had someone from NASA like on the stand. And then, the NTSB would ask questions to this person. And I remember them asking, they kind of took you through what happened in the flight and, how the plane lost control. And I remember them asking this person who, again, is like this top aviation person, like, if you were in that situation, it had gotten to this point, like not saying you would have gotten it there, but was there any way to recover? And the person had said, no, like it was, you know what I mean? And it was so hard to hear that. But I think that, and all the families were there too. It was so difficult to hear. But it was just like such an eye-opening, truthful thing. Yeah. But the important thing too is like you talk to the families now, and so many of them focus on positivity, like what came out of this, how we got there, and like again, these pilots now are better trained than they were back then.
Well, thank God for these families, and certainly we're thinking of them today.
Yeah.
And keep them in your thoughts as you go about the day. We got to get the show on the road here. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a good one.